My guest today is Dee Wallace, an internationally known actress with over 200 film credits, including E.T. and Cujo. She has authored 7 books on the art of self-creation, and today we're talking about her most recent one, Born, Giving Birth to a New You. Dee is a pure joy when you hear our conversation. You cannot help but feel her passion, energy, love, and deep insights. As always, a very special thanks to my dear patrons who make this podcast possible. If you enjoy listening, please subscribe and visit my website, barrykibrick.com, to become a patron or just to get in touch with me. I appreciate hearing from you all and will answer every single email. Now, a chance to explore ourselves and to discover why love is the driving force behind creation with the delightful Dee Wallace. Dee, it is such a pleasure to see you. Knowing you were coming on my show, I couldn't help but think of the last time we were together and the love that oozes out of your pores is as if there is almost a magnetic glow around you. And I am so honored that you're back here on my podcast. Thank you, dear. You're one of the few people that I've actually kept in touch with as my guest. I have a handful of them, and you, my dear, are one of them.
Well, I feel very honored about that, and I feel the same way about you, Barry, and your family. And I love you. I do. I love you, and I'm so happy to be here.
Well, that's in fact how we have to start, because you realized that the truth of all religions, the core of all spirituality, these are your words, the facts, everything we say, it really is all about love. When it boils down to it, love is the driving force.
It should be. It is the most powerful creation tool we have to create in our lives what we want. And it says it in the good book. Spirituality talks about it. Brain science now. A lot of the top brain scientists, Joe Dispenza and Bruce Lipton, and talking about the power of love and how they literally have been able to measure the frequency differences in the creation process when love is brought to its highest point.
You know, I have been doing a lot of research on a book that I'm going to write, and it's called Betweenness. And,
I love it.
And what is so interesting is it is the frequencies that have the most things in between them that makes them so unique. So no matter how much you divide them, when you see that each frequency can be divided again and again and again and again, it's in a very strange way. And brain science does show this. It is connected to our consciousness, well as the consciousness, if you want and believe in it like I do, and the collective consciousness as well.
Oh, so absolutely. Absolutely, Barry. Look, we're electrical beings. They measure our hearts through electrocardiograms, our brains through electroencephalograms. Every thought and feeling that we have shoots out an electrical frequency, which goes out into, guess what? An electromagnetic universe. So we keep thinking that the universe is telling us what to do and creating us. We're literally creating it.
Well, that's why the book is called Born, but right away following it, after the little colon I put there, is giving birth to a new you. So just because we have this past, we are not, according to everything you've written and everything I've learned, we're not attached to our past. And I want to be careful how I say that, because we are attached that, yes, all those things from our past help us in the good and also hinder us where it's bad, but we are not, as someone once said, our resumes. We have that ability. Our minds are so elastic, even as we age, that we can physically manifest these changes. And it may take, I don't want it to, sometimes, as I always say, it's easier to say, and it's not always so simple to do, but it is always possible to do.
Yes, but if we start saying it's simple, it becomes more simple. You see, that's where the struggle comes in. And you have to claim it to live it. You know, in the good book, God said, I am that I am. I have to say I'm God if I am God. I have to define who I am. And so our thoughts and our beliefs and our feelings are things we can choose. We can choose them. And first, we must choose how we want to define who we are.
Well, you said you start. Oh, I'm sorry, Dee.
No, that's all right. Go ahead.
That's how you even decided. It was when you decided I am an actor.
Yeah.
That's when it started for you. You didn't want to become an actor. You didn't want to try to be an actor. It's when you made the statement, I am an actor. And
absolutely. And I chose that and I committed to it. And then things started coming to me. The right teachers, the right opportunities. I mean, you know, Steven Spielberg just called and offered me E.T. Come on, guys. That doesn't happen in my business very often, you know? But when you are literally the frequency of what you desire, it finds you. That magnetic force that you send out finds you, matches it, and sends it back to you in the reality of your life. So if you're not getting what you want in your life, I guarantee you there are thoughts and beliefs that are creating boundaries that are holding it away.
And you let us know that, especially when it comes to creative energy, these are your words, creative energy is neutral. It does not judge. And in fact, what I find is, and it saddens me, but oftentimes the most good, kind, and creative people are the most who self-judge themselves because they want everything to be right. They want everything to be good. I know bad people, they don't care so much,
That's
you know. But good people, they tend to judge themselves so harshly. And the thing throughout your book is to really reinforce that you've got to show that kindness and love to yourself in order to open up all of that stuff between the way you think and the way you act. And if you open yourself up to that and not be judgmental and do so, also, I think it's important, Dee, that you, and I think you'll agree with me, this is not just a form of lip service. In other words, it's not just saying those words. It is really imbibing them within your heart and soul.
Absolutely. And living them. Living that truth of which you speak. Right?
Action. You do have to take that action.
You have to take action. You have to take action. But action from fear or desperation will never get you what you want. So that's why my statements are directions to energy. Because as you pointed out, energy is neutral. Everybody learned this in 5th grade, by the way. Energy is neutral. Energy has always been here. Energy will always be here. But energy must be directed. And if you don't direct it consciously, It gets directed by the TV, by old religious teachings that are not empowering you. The fears that your parents had that were passed down to you. Do you know, we did a study, Barry. In 1 hour, you can watch around 50 commercials telling you how you're going to get sick, that you are going to get sick, what you need to take for it, how it's probably going to make you sick when you do take it, while they are showing you happy families with dogs. And what that does from a brain science point of view, your brain says, oh, I get it. Getting sick makes me happy.
Oh, man, that is...
Yeah.
When you have that, it's very funny because you talk about how we have dominion over our thoughts and feelings and beliefs because those are all made up of energy. One thing I found interesting in the research I've been doing is we don't always have control over the initial emotions that happen because those are the things that we just feel. The emotions we have are the things that are instinctual to us. But what we do have dominion over is how we're going to feel about those emotions. And that's another thing you bring out here is that, yeah, you can't always control the thoughts that may enter your mind, but you can control how you're going to respond to those thoughts and what you're going to do in order to fulfill the inner passion and love that allows you to create. And by create, I mean that could be in any field. We're not talking only in what we'll call the creative arts. It's how to create to become a great mom. It's how to create to be, a teacher. Everyone is creating. And if you can free yourself according to the work you've done so that you create without that judgment, wow, can you get so much more done as well?
Yeah. Yeah. And who do we want to give everything to? The people we love. We need to be at the top of that list because when we're filled up and we have abundance, then we get to share it more and more and more and more. That's what they mean when our cup runneth over. You can't give what you don't have. But for example, one of the big things, huge things that I had to work through when I started doing this work, I was raised in a very poor family and a religious family. And I was taught they're the rich people. We're the good people. And I was taught you never should have more than you need. Well, cut to 30 years later, and I'm starring in the biggest blockbuster of all time, and I'm making money. And I went, oh my God, I've become one of them.
Oh, my.
Now what do I do? What do I do? Yeah, well, so I had to go, my consciousness is my self-worth, not the money. It's what I do with the money. It's what I do with my love. It's what I do with my time. It's what I do with who I am.
But you are so honest in the book because you say for even yourself, and these are, again, I'll quote you if you don't mind.
No.
My biggest issue at first was self-trust.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I mean, look, guys, really, is there anybody out there whose moms and dads said, you know everything, trust what you know, follow your heart. If somebody says you can't, then you just say, thank you for sharing, but I know I can't. No, none of us were taught that, Barry. None of us. We were taught to, well, maybe they're right, and maybe I am too powerful, and maybe I should give my toy away, and maybe I should get out of the sandbox and let Gabby come in. That's what we are taught. And there's a difference between consciously sharing yourself with others and giving yourself up.
I told this story the other day because I have been very blessed to have both my mom and dad really instill a deep belief in me that allowed me to be who I am. They really did instill that. But yet I tell this very funny story. When I had my children, I was talking to my kids and I was telling them how great they were. And my parents did the same to me. But when my father actually heard those words, he said, you shouldn't really say that to the kids. You're going to give them a swell head. And I said, Dad, hold on. I can assure you, there's not a person on this planet that has too swell of a head. Everyone is struggling just to keep it together. No one's going to the world will knock you down. So give yourself as much energy. And as I said, thankfully, consciously they did that. But it was very funny when they heard it. They were from the Depression era and all of that. And right away, they were a little afraid when it came out of my mouth that way.
Well, absolutely. And that's what I mean. I grew up in a dichotomy. I mean, we would watch the Miss America pageant and my parents would say, see, Dee Dee, you can do that. You can be up there. You can be Judy Garland. And then on the other hand, they said, don't get too big. Don't have too much money. When you get older and you're trying to create what you want in your life, that is very confusing. And you have to understand that the little persons inside of us are running a lot of the show that we do not recognize.
Oh, that's what I call between the things we know and don't know. That's where it all lies. And in fact, I want to play off on what you just said because, and I'm going to use your words again, and I'm going to quote it exactly because it's said so perfectly. If we live in the I don't know what I want place, we usually stop trying to create because literally we are stopping or sabotaging ourselves from even starting. So that's the first place we have to get out of the I don't know what I want and get into, you know what? I know what I want. And by the way, even if you're wrong, you can go and find another thing that you want. Keep searching. It doesn't matter. But get out of that I don't know what I want place.
Well, look, the universe is like a computer. If you put into your computer, I don't know what you want me to find, it's going to go page not found. Sorry, can't help you out. And that's the way the universe works. The universe is waiting for our clear direction. Let me tell you, when I go out and speak, Barry, I'll have somebody come up on stage and I never met him before. I say, okay, what do you want? Well, I don't want to worry so much about money. Okay, what do you want? Well, I don't want to feel like I never have enough money. Okay, what do you want? This goes on sometimes for 20 minutes until they finally go, God, I want more money. And I said, great, that's the first time you told me what you wanted. And the universe is standing out there doing the same thing with us. Do you want to be a big movie star, Dee? Or are you too afraid you're going to be one of them? Because until you decide, we can't move. There's no direction for us. Because what we're hearing is, I want to be a big movie star. Oh my gosh, wait, I'm too afraid to. And so the universe waits.
You know, you even say it's contagious. You say that when you become the person you want to be with, it's easier to attract that energy even in another person. So there's a contagion that almost goes through once you make that commitment.
Absolutely. Look, I love to use this as an analogy. So let's say you're a woman and you want to create the perfect mate. You want to bring in a relationship. So you've made a list of everything you want, which is really important for the creation process. And there's 5 guys in this room that match your list. And you come in and you go, hi, I'm so glad you're here. I really want to have a relationship with one of you. Oh my gosh, this is so exciting. But I just want you to know, I think I'm really stupid and I'm not very pretty. I don't have enough money. My life kind of sucks. Okay, who would like to have a relationship with me? Who's going to walk forward, right? So I say, make a list of everything you want and then say, I am creating this, and then go back and look at that list and go, am I a match to that? Am I a match to that? Am I a match to that? Because when you are everything you want to attract, it comes to you.
You say another thing is that we literally dialogue ourselves from ever really making that clear choice about what we want.
Oh my God.
That's what makes it, you see, it's again, it starts within that self. And I know it goes back all the way to Socrates, who said, know thyself. But the problem is that let's take a little tangent for a second, Dee.
Okay.
Why do you think we always do have, it's something we've known since the beginning of time, yet it is something that we do have difficulty without, when we're not aware of it, and that is, how do we know ourselves? How do we know our true selves, not the selves that we have running through our thoughts all the time, which usually are, unfortunately, negative thoughts. They seem to be easier to attain. So it is a difficult, and again, I know we don't want to use that word difficult.
No, we don't, Barry. So
we don't want to use, so we won't.
It's a challenge.
It's a challenge. I like that. It's a challenge to create that inner dialogue so you hear the clearest voice which rings true.
Yes, and it's a process. I don't teach soundbite creation. It is a process of being and becoming conscious of who you are. So, the other day I found a negative limiting thought just skipping. They skip through real fast. And I caught it and I went, and this is what I do. I self-talk and I go, Deanna Bowers, which is my given name. Deanna Bowers, is that thought going to really give you what you want? Woman, that thought takes you right into the toilet and you're about ready to get flushed down. So do you want to get out and think a thought that's going to give you what you want? By that time I'm laughing, and laughing's good because then you are removed enough from it that you can make a conscious positive choice. So look, guys, we all know what we don't want. And I love Dana Wilde, the way she puts it. She says there's no problem with your story except that you keep telling it. And if you keep telling your story, you're going to keep living your story. We have all been used. We have all been abused. We have all been mistreated. We have all been abandoned in some way. That's the physical experience. And it's what you do with it that changes your life and creates who you are. So I could keep saying, my dad was a drunk and he committed suicide. And when I was a senior in high school and I had to work all the time to help them make the bills. And that's why I can't. But that's not going to get me what I want. What's going to get me what I want is, okay, that's my story. I'm going to choose that it made me stronger. I'm going to choose that it made me more resilient. And now, what do I want? I'm going to go get and create what I want, no matter what happened to me.
Well, you even tell us where we can find this. You say your heart will always reveal the higher truth of any desire. And then you can take that truth and direct your mind to focus on it. That's I'm going to read it again even, because you see that's an actual answer on how to do this. Your heart reveals the higher truth. If you can pay attention to that inner heart soul muscle and then take it to your mind, then you've got, everyone working together, the brain, the mind, the heart, the soul, the consciousness, and all that lies between it, all working in the same direction.
And where are we taught to go for all the answers? Go to your mind. Oh, well, your mind is created to doubt. And when you're in doubt, you don't know. And when you don't know, you can't choose. And there's no moving forward. But your heart will always guide you. People call into my show. One woman called in and said, Dee, I don't know what to do. I'm this age. I'm so unhappy in my marriage, and I'm scared, and I don't know what to do. I said, sure you do. Sure you do. Just take a breath. Let's open up everything. Now go to your heart. What does your heart want to do? And I could hear her breaking down into tears. And she said, I have to leave for me. And I said, yes, you do.
Wow. I oftentimes too, I want people to know that there's no age limit put on this. You can make these awarenesses. Some people make them at an early age, beautiful for them, but you could make them at any age. I know for me, even though I was always doing what I wanted to do, I wasn't always doing what my heart wanted me to do. And that took, believe it or not, that took a lot longer than I thought it would, but it did happen. And when it does, you really do become I don't want to say better. That puts a judgment again. I want to be careful.
A miracle maker is what you become.
I'll take that any day. Yes,
you do.
You feel that different feeling. You feel that you know what? You finally feel. I think that's how passion gets in. When you believe that, that's how you open the doors for passion. I think you have to do that, and you have to do it. I said this earlier in a conversation I had. You have to do it with enthusiasm. If you can take everything you're doing with enthusiasm, no matter what it is, and then begin to open up that valve in your heart, that's when you will allow passion to float in, and when it does, you'll say, now I'm doing what I am meant to be doing.
Yeah, and when your heart's open, energy just flows. When we close our hearts to protect ourselves. When we're in fear or we don't know, or we're in doubt, or we automatically go into self-protection because that's what we think keeps us safe, but it's not. If you open your heart, then you're safe because you get the true downloads.
Yeah. Dee, you actually also, I don't want to leave this out, because you do also give, a lot of the book it's a little bit memoir, because you catch a little bit about your own dealings with life. It's quite a lot of philosophy and theology and spirituality, I'll say.
And brain science.
And brain science. It's all those things. But there's really some advice that I want to bring out. And you say these words. You say, I think the walls we have to accepting love as the most important state in creation are threefold. And I'd like to go over each one and then get your input on it, okay, Dee? So the first one, you say, we think it's too ethereal. We think something we cannot grasp. Love is like a poetic illusion and a state that we cannot actually direct. You say that's one wall we must knock down.
Yeah, absolutely. Love, you see, love isn't something you get. Love is something you are. And when you are love, all of your creation is created from that place. It's not some namby-pamby little elusive Cupid thing out there that we're hoping to find. It's literally who we are. And we've heard it forever, Barry. You know, the Wizard of Oz, you had the power all along, Dorothy. Peter Pan, think happy thoughts and you fly. E.T., keep your heart light on.
No one would know that better than the mom on E.T. Okay.
No, by no accident that I did that film, by the way.
I know that that was your first, as you said, when you believed you were the actor, Spielberg came and called you to.
Yeah.
You didn't, if I'm correct, you didn't even have to audition, did you?
I did not, no.
Oh, my God.
But I want to point out that movie is really about everything we're talking about today.
Isn't that something?
Keep your heart light on, have an intention. E.T. knew where he wanted to go and that he was going to get there. And he used his ingenuity and his friendships and his love to create that.
And here's another wall that you say sometimes, especially with love, we put up. We believe we must have a reason to love. They love me and I can feel their love, and I should love them in return. Or I achieved what I set out to attain, so now I can love myself. I'm fitting my formula of success, so I deserve love. You want us to make sure that we are not waiting around for any reason to love ourselves. We are not waiting around to deserve that love, and we are not waiting for it to fit any formula of success. We got to start with it for all those things to happen.
You have to start with being it. And one of my favorite statements is, don't wait, create.
You have also, again, one more thing that you bring out in the book, which you call the 0 point. Mm-hmm. And this one, I need a little clarification on this one.
Okay.
Because there is, you know what, before I need clarification, why don't, I bet you'll end up clarifying it just by telling us what you mean by the 0 point.
Well, the 0 point is exactly as it sounds, starting at 0. So in the creation process, you don't want to fix things. You want to create what you want. People who I'm working with in creating relationships, they have to get to the 0 point of the time when they hadn't created 4 assholes already. You know?
Yep.
Because they're spending time going, well, I don't want that. I don't want him again. I don't want to go through that again. Which is what? Saying what you don't want. So let's say that all those a-holes came along so that you could get very, very clear about what you want. And write that down and start feeling love around that. Love and joy, love and joy. My channel is always screaming love and joy, love and joy. That's how you create everything.
But, you know, you also give us, again, a little heads up Our fear of being our own creative force is due to the fact that we're also afraid of being that powerful.
Oh, you bet. You bet. And that's really what it's all about. Well, look, from time immemorial, okay, Eve brought the world down by taking an apple she wasn't supposed to. Christ got crucified. Joan of Arc got burned at the stake. You know, we have songs like Only the Good Die Young, right? I mean, it's been a part of literally our cellular makeup, Barry. And, you know, water never loses its memory. Water retains memory from the beginning of time. What are we? 80 to 90% water. So all those memories of all those past lives and everywhere that we've learned and everything that all the countries have gone through, it's a part of our DNA. And until we literally step forward and start redirecting that DNA, it's going to be with us. But then energy needs direction. And all we have to do is direct it toward the love and the positive that we so desire in our lives and in our world.
There's a little funny aspect in your book, and you said humor is so important. And it starts off with a serious issue, but the way you resolve it, I'm going to read them both if that's okay.
Oh dear, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay.
Okay. You say that most of us have been on such a vicious cycle in some way for the majority of our lives. And this is what you were referring to, creating the same patterns and challenges over and over again. But then you have a quote by the comedian Swami Beyondananda, and it goes like this: when you find yourself on a vicious cycle, for goodness sake, stop peddling.
Yes.
And I couldn't help. I thought, oh, it's too easy, it's too perfect, but it's so speaking the truth, you know?
It sums up the whole book, really.
Oh.
Get off whatever's giving you what you don't want and get on the bicycle that's going to take you where you do. And you do that by being conscious of your thoughts and your feelings and your belief systems. It's easy, and yes, it takes you being conscious, and yes, it takes some time to turn around.
And you even state that the greatest challenge we do face is while we're in this exploration of creation, is that self-love again, and the choice to love ourselves whether anyone else does or not.
Especially whether anybody else does or not.
Well, you end your book by saying basically loving yourself is the state of enlightenment. And Dee, whenever you are with me, I always walk away feeling more enlightened and more lighter. You are the uplifting force of nature that I'm so glad that my listeners are going to be able to experience you like this, because there's no one that can listen to you that doesn't walk away feeling lighter, feeling more joyful, feeling more positive, and feeling that, yes, I can conquer all the things I want to conquer. Maybe it may be a little bit longer, it may be a little bit shorter, but I can do it, and you instill that in all of us, my dear Dee.
Thank you, Barry. And I just want to say, if I could do it after all of the hardships that have befallen me in my life, anybody can do it. And guys, I'm just the girl next door from Kansas. You know, I didn't know any of this stuff. It was given to me as a gift. When I asked why I should take this on, why they chose me. They said, because you're the girl next door and you can say it so people can understand it. So I hope I have, Barry. And I love you and thank you for letting me come on and share this joy that I know.
Well, you shared it with all of us, and I thank you, my dear Dee. Till I see you again, continue with your work, and please share that love for all to absorb.
Indeed.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this podcast and want to hear more, please subscribe or become a patron of the show at barrykibrick.com to keep it going every week. Thank you.